In today's matchup episode, I'll compare the recent performances of Miss Universe Cambodia, Indonesia, and the Philippines to make some super early Miss Universe 2022 predictions. My name's Dani Walker. Welcome. If you enjoy content like this, I hope you'll consider subscribing and hitting that notifications bell. And if you need some extra help for your next competition, check out the free pageant prep course that's linked in the description. Let's get started. The first area of competition to compare today is the interview competition. And although we haven't seen all of the contestants one-on-one interview with the judges, we have seen Philippines. So if you want to go check that out, you can search that on YouTube. But what I did instead was take a look at some other recent interviews that the contestants have had to kind of use that as a gauge for their communication skills in an interview setting. Here's what I discovered. Cambodia is fluent in Khmer, English, and French. My goodness. So here's where I feel like her advantage is for the interview competition. And we'll talk a little bit more about it at the end when we address onstage question as well. But I think that her advantage is English comprehension. So essentially just understanding what an interview means when they state a question and then being able to articulate her thoughts in a way that accurately conveys what she meant to say. And I feel like that is a huge advantage for the interview competition. Next, I found some YouTube interviews of Indonesia. I learned that she also is fluent in English. She does such a great job with that and articulating her thoughts. I think that she has amazing interview speaking abilities, but what I would like to see more of her Miss Universe is making sure that she incorporates personality, because it's not just what we say, it's how we say it and how we present it. And you always want to come across as very approachable, warm, charismatic. Those are things that judges are taking into consideration in an interview, and I think that she can really turn up the personality. Don't take my word for it. Check out Philippines' interview for yourself, but you will see that she is quite sincere and very sweet in her interviews and for her onstage questions. And I think that this quality of hers is very, 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 very likable. And I think it can potentially sway the judges. So now that we've talked about the three interviewing styles of these queens, I am going to rank them and assign a number for the interview area of competition. These are my assumptions on the way things would go at Miss Universe if they were to go to Miss Universe tomorrow. I know a lot can change between now and Miss Universe, but I am going to make some assessments off of their current interview abilities. With that being said, I think that Philippines' warmth and sincerity would really win judges over, so I would give her my #1 spot, and for that I'm going to award her 3 points. For Cambodia, I'm going to award her my 2nd spot for 2 points. I think that that is a result of her excellent comprehension and also just her style of speaking. And then #3, because that's our last spot, is going to be awarded to Miss Indonesia because I really want to see her personality shine, so I will award her 1 point for that. Next, we're going to move on to the swimsuit competition. In Cambodia, they do not televise the swimsuit competition, but they did release a swimsuit competition online on YouTube that you're able to see. So I did watch that, and I have to say, oh my gosh, Cambodia knows how to work a runway. She really does. The walk is fabulous, but what really captures my attention is her use of facials, and her posing is there too. So I was very, very impressed when I saw her compete for this swimsuit competition, and honestly, when I saw this clip, that's what made me feel like she was going to be the eventual winner for Cambodia. Indonesia also does not compete in the swimsuit competition for their national final. Instead, they have kind of a fashion runway competition. So we got to see a little bit of her walk, and this is the area where I think that she is going to need the most work if she is going to place or intends to win Miss Universe this year. Philippines is an experienced model. We can see that in all of her performances. But the performance I'm really taking into consideration is her most recent one, and that's at her national final. So with that in mind, for me, Philippines and Cambodia are head-to-head for swimsuit. But what is edging out Cambodia for swimsuit for me right now was her use of many facials. And that really impressed me. So for that and for swim, I'm going to give Cambodia 3 points for this, Philippines 2, and Indonesia 1. Now let's talk about the evening gown competition. Fortunately, everyone competes for the evening gown competition. I'm a fan of that. So we'll start with Cambodia. If you are only to evaluate Cambodia's final evening gown performance, I do not believe that you think that she would be a huge threat to any Sash Factor country at Miss Universe. The reason I say that is not because the performance isn't great, it's because I felt that the styling was off for her final performance. And if the styling is off, if it's not this complete total picture, you might ignore a contestant because of that, but do not ignore her. Continue to watch her as she prepares for Miss Universe, because I think that she could potentially place this year for Cambodia. Who knows, maybe she'll win the whole competition. We'll see how much she progresses between now and then. Now let's talk about Indonesia in gown. I will say that in Indonesia, their evening gown competitions are very different from most countries that go to Miss Universe. And what I mean by this is that the contestants here are not as creative with facials and poses. It's a much simpler version of a gown walk, and I feel like because that is the standard and the norm in Indonesia, that it's a very big challenge for their title holders to prepare for the swimsuit or the evening gown competition going into Miss Universe if they don't already have extensive runway training. So that's going to be an obstacle for her going into Miss Universe. Philippines, we know that they really prepare their queens, and especially in recent years, they've been bringing some very, very unique pieces to the Miss Universe stage that are specifically created for their individual title holder, and I love that attention to detail. Now, we have seen in another recent episode that I created about the transformation of Celeste that she has improved vastly from her time at Earth to Universe. She's on a roll. She's on a roll. And I loved her in the runway challenges when she was competing for the Philippines. She has such great stage presence and performance. She's very at ease, elegant, graceful. She has got it all. So I really feel like she is going to excel in the evening gown competition. And so for that, I'm giving her my top score for gown potentially. So that gives her a 3. Cambodia will get a 2, and by nature of those top 2 scores, Indonesia receives a 1 for this area of competition. Next, let's consider the onstage question portion of the competition. For this, I'm going to review with you the answers that they shared at their national competition, starting with Cambodia. Her first question was, in this month-long of pageant activities for Miss Universe Cambodia, what lessons have you learned and how will they affect your life in the future? She said that Miss Universe Cambodia this year has taught me the value of sisterhood. Miss Universe pageant is a platform that brings races and people from different backgrounds together. We are sisters by purpose. We joined Miss Universe Cambodia with the same goal, but we became sisters and our bond is eternal. Beyond this coronation night, we will still be friends. We will still be together, supporting each other towards our goals. Well done. She answered this in English, so this is not a translation. These were her exact words. Her next question was not a question at all. It was a challenge where she was given a phrase and she had to share whatever she wanted to about this phrase. Her phrase was beyond beautiful, and her response was beyond beautiful. Miss Universe Cambodia is beyond beautiful. Beauty that is immeasurable. On this stage, Miss Universe Cambodia promotes our country, elevates it for the international stage to see that Cambodia can do it. We have much more than just Angkor Wat. We have a rich heritage, culture, and beautiful people as well. She spoke very confidently for both of these answers. She did not miss a step with it. I thought that she presented beautiful messaging. She smiled, the tone, it was all there. Keep heading in this direction for Universe. Keep it up. Cambodia also was asked 2 questions, starting with the loosening regulations and tackling the spread of COVID, where people can now take off masks outside, they're getting positive responses from the community, especially optimism in economic development, one of which is the tourism sector, Bali. In your opinion, does this new regulation serve as an opportunity or a challenge for the Indonesian tourism sector? She also answered in English. She said, "This new regulation is a golden opportunity that we should take advantage of. It's a great momentum to grow our tourism industry, especially in islands like Bali and the new 5 priority islands. And we should take this momentum to attract not just foreign tourists, but also local tourists and help support and grow local businesses that need our emergent help right now. And I think that's what we should do, and that will help grow our economy." Great, strong answer. No wonder why she won. I would change, though, the delivery of this. I need her to just take a breath and relax as she's presenting this answer so she does not look affected by the stress. Also, to finish strong. So as she was getting towards the end of this answer, she started sounding a little bit unsure of how she was going to wrap it up. And I think at Miss Universe, there's no room for those mistakes. So you have to start strong and finish strong. Her next question was not asked in English, so I have a rough translation of what it was about, and it had to do with life experiences. Is there something that you regret, and how would you change it? Something along those lines. And her answer was that, "I don't have any experience in my life that I regret, however bad it is. I believe that the universe has made plans for me, and I believe it's helped me to grow into a stronger, wiser, and more righteous person. And that is why I can stand here in front of you tonight, because of all that experience has taught me, and it has made me a new person, and I am courageous. And I know I can conquer anything." So very, very confident answer. Last, let's talk about Philippines on stage question. First, I will say though, she has grown so much. Watch my episode about her transformation and you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about, especially when it comes to onstage question, although this still is an area of concern for me for her. But let's talk about what she was asked. They said, "You grew up in both Italy and the Philippines. What would you say are your best Filipino and Italian traits?" She said, "If there is something that I can say that there is in common with Italian heritage and Filipino heritage, it's that we are strong women. We always value family. If there is something that my mom has always taught me, it's to be grateful for your family, for your loved ones, and for the people around you. Because when you're grateful and kind, people will be kind as well and grateful for you." That almost sounded like a line in a movie, and what was really special about it was her delivery of it. A lot of people could have said an answer like this, but when you hear the sincerity in her tone, it takes it up a notch. Her final question was, "If you could stop time for a day, how would you spend it?" Her answer was, "If I could stop time, I would spend it with my family, especially my mother. It's been 2 years that I don't see my family because they live in Italy, and I came here in the Philippines just by myself. So if I could spend one day, it would definitely be with my mom, and I would just tell her how much I love her and miss her." Within this answer, nothing too special, especially if I'm just reading it back to you right now. You'll see that. But what really made the answer, once again, was the sincerity, and oftentimes that is not something that you can teach. But when I look at these 3 contestants and their overall on-stage question, when I think of if this was the final competition, if these were the questions that were asked to them, I really come back to Cambodia's answer. I felt like it was so strong. She had a powerful message about sisterhood and about her country and all these great things. And so for me, it's really tough, but she's edging out Philippines for onstage question if we're just looking at their national performances, which means I would give her 3 points, Philippines 2, and Indonesia 1 for this. Now, if I look at all of the performances together and kind of tally things up with this very simple scoring system, that means Cambodia would have 2 points, 3 points, 2, and 3. We add that up, we divide it, we get the average, which is 2.5. Indonesia is 1, 1, 1, and 1. Add them up, divide by 4, you get 1. Philippines, though, we have 3, 2, 3, and 2. Add those up, divide by 4, and we get 2.5. That means we have a tie, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm gonna leave that tiebreaker up to you. So please go check out the contestant performances. Let me know what you think about them. Who do you think is going to place the highest at Miss Universe or potentially win this year out of these 3 contestants? I would love to hear your opinions. But thank you for tuning into this episode. I suggest checking out my recent recap of Miss Universe Vietnam. Their preliminary competition was so impressive. It blew my mind, so I'll link it right here. But thanks for joining me for this episode. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit those notifications before you exit, and I look forward to seeing you next time.